Greetings, beautiful Earthlings, Oracle and Tarot enthusiasts, and all other viewers. Welcome. Today we're picking back up an intro to tarot. And as promised in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about flying cards, different methods of shuffling, and also touching a little bit more this week as well on how to determine how to choose your first deck. I also had a really good idea this week to thread in the 3-card read format by kind of doing like a two birds with one stone, showing you all of the different types of decks, sizes, as well as what they contain, as well as having you use your intuition to choose one message from one of the decks. So you guys still get your 3-card read this week. I know, you're welcome. So, starting off, I wanted to talk about flying cards. So, the last couple of weeks, we touched on different types of reads and how to choose your deck. Now, with shuffling, we also talked about in the past going with your intuition, really kind of like setting aside a little bit of meditation time before to get into your body and to tap in a little bit of prayer to ask what it is that you're looking for, what type of advice it is that you're looking for to get out of the deck. So we talked about cleansing and activating your deck. So when you first begin to do your reads, I'm going to move these ones out of the way for now. You're going to obviously want to integrate your cards when you first get your deck. So they're going to be in order, especially if you get a traditional tarot deck. It's going to have the major arcana first and then the minor arcana in complete order. So that's a really good opportunity for you to practice your shuffling because you need to really integrate your cards. So I really recommend that my clients specifically focus on their hands, their arms, and kind of like their heart and throat chakra as they are shuffling. So for you, if that means kind of like doing some wrist yoga beforehand, or maybe like holding like a green stone to kind of open up that channel from the heart to the hands. And really, I mean, it's about all of the chakras, but the uppers are especially super involved. You have to be grounded, you have to be rooted to be protected, as all of us are in this video. This and all of my videos are always protected in the strongest cloak and shield of protection that is available, which is unconditional love and healing white light. So everybody in this session now and future and forever is sealed and protected in unconditional love and healing white light. Just had to say that. So some type of prayer like that before you do your reads is really encouraged. It's going to help you set your intention, and it's really going to help to make sure that you get the upward moving messages that you need to. So as you guys can see, I've been shuffling, but I haven't dropped any cards. If it does become the case that a card flies out like that one just did, which I kind of encouraged one to do, but not really. So that was kind of like divine giving me a little card fly. So when cards fly when you're shuffling, most tarotistas and divinity workers do believe that that's some type of an intervention or an interjection, if you will, of spirit. So typically, if you're doing just a 1-card read and one card flies out, pretty obviously, that's going to be your card. Now it's up to you to go with your intuition, and you can always kind of like pick the brains of other tarotistas. I'm going to grab the card that flew, which is the 8 of Swords. Black Cohosh. So we're going to read. Black Cohosh is a very strong feminine herb. It's an herb of reproduction. So I'm actually going to go ahead and read from the 8 of Swords since it did fly. So kind of touching back on like flying. So say you're doing like a 3-card read, 1 card flies. Typically, if it were me, I stop the shuffle there, and it's basically indicated that that's card number 1. And then you can continue to deal out the cards from the top of the deck from there. Now, sometimes you'll get a really strong urge that will tell you to just hold that card and then continue to shuffle. I always really encourage you most of all to go with your first gut intuition. So just going to read to you from 8 of Swords for those of you who are called to the Herbal Tarot deck. So this is an antispasmodic and a nervine. And a menagogue, like I mentioned, brings blood flow to the sacral chakra and the sacral organs. It's a tonic used for neurological afflictions, epilepsy, alleviate pains, menstrual cramps, and it promotes the menses. So the divinatory meanings are being cramped or locked in, publicly restrained or held back. So this is going to speak to folks who are really feeling the effects of lockdowns right now. The reverse meanings, which this didn't come through reverse, but the reverse meanings would have been being totally in the moment, involvement, and present concerns. So that's really for those of you who are drawn to card number one, want to be focusing on living in the moment, not lamenting all of the things that you're not able to do right now. Like if it's just somebody who really loves to go out to the movies or whatever it is, to sort of enjoy what's going on in the present moment and take in the fact that, yeah, we might not be able to do all these things that we considered luxuries like 20 years ago because of the lockdown. However, we have a lot of things in our lives right now that would have been considered huge luxuries 20 years ago anyway. I mean, you can go probably to a friend's house who has a theater if you're rich and you have the right friends, I suppose, but you get what I mean. Like we have projectors these days so we can watch, movies up on the wall. So get creative with it is what I'm getting for card number one, choosers. Don't be discouraged by this change that we're going through right now. Don't get discouraged. Have some fun with it. So we just shuffled card number one. Deck number one was the Herbal Tarot deck. It's a pretty traditional Rider-Waite size-wise. So those are very sort of like easy to shuffle. We're moving into Oracle decks. So this is Amanda Ellis's Manatron Oracle deck. These cards are much different. They're almost twice as wide as the Herbal deck that I was just shuffling. So I do notice that I get flying cards a lot more from this deck. It's just a decision that you might want to make. You might be doing a pull where you're just doing cuts like this and you're fanning. I literally just go from what my hands tell me would feel best on the fingertips. So really getting into the sensory experience of shuffling your cards. Really feel each and every card as it passes over your fingertips. Really listen. Like when you do stuff like this, enjoy those sounds of the cards. That's what's going to build up the energy and the connection between you and your cards. So we may or may not have flying cards here, but that might not be what I'm going for. I might be going for, I'm going to do a fan spread and just choose one from the center. Sometimes that's what you do. I was thinking about this card this morning, so huge confirmation for having pulled detach from drama, look up. So for those of you who are drawn to the second card, you're being called to detach from drama. There's plenty of drama abounding right now. So whatever it is, you're really being encouraged to look up and not down. So there's been a lot of focus on like worldly matters, and it's starting to get to you, and it's starting to get to the point where it's feeling like it's drama. You're being encouraged to look up from this dramatic situation because the answer is up here. So the voice of divine, if you're constantly looking down, you may have found that you've been looking down at screens a lot. You may have been looking down at your phone, or you may be looking at your computer, the television. Those of you who chose card number two, you're being encouraged to detach from the looking down. And I'm really getting a big, like, literal sense of looking up with your eyes. So card number two, choosers, you're being encouraged to give your eyes a rest. Stop looking so much at the screens, and also detaching from drama. That's probably going to come hand in hand with that, to be honest with you. So stargazing is what I'm getting. If it's a clear enough night tonight, get out, look up, ask the stars what message they have for you. Card number two, choosers. So card number three, I chose the Sacred Geometry deck because these are the largest cards that I have. They are easily twice as big as the first deck that we were shuffling with, and maybe not easily, they're nearly twice as big. So you can go for different things, just kind of like, sort of like wearing different size hats or carrying different size purses. It's all about what you feel, and sometimes your hands are going to want to have something really substantial. I can't really, the stock of these cards are much thicker than, say, for example, the stock of these cards. So if I'm really wanting a lot of like sort of like micro stimulation on the hands, I'm going to go for a deck that's got a little bit more of a thin stock. If I'm feeling really like hardy and robust and I want to like really feel the cards in my hands, maybe like you feel like you need a little bit of extra guidance, then maybe you want to go for your thicker cards. One other thing I wanted to point out, especially about these oracle decks, and one thing to look toward when you're buying your first deck, is how much are you going to want to be dependent on the book that translates what is coming up with the cards. If you want to be going back and forth between the cards and the book a lot, or if you would rather not, we have cards that have a lot of the information of the actual card already written on the card itself. So if you're doing, let's say, for example, you're doing a pyramid spread where you're doing 8 cards and you don't want to be going 8 times back and forth to the book, you want to be able to kind of just like pull the 8 cards, look at the spread, and read what's going on. There are decks available that have most of the meaning written on the card themselves. And then there are other that have none of the meaning and it's just the image. So just something to look into for you guys. Throat chakra. For those of you who chose card number 3, we've drawn throat chakra. So there's something that you need to get off of your chest. It seems like something came through immediately, is that you've recently just made this little crack open in your heart chakra, and it's enabling something to bubble up into your throat chakra that's really going to help you get really rooted and flowing and manifest what it is that you're trying to manifest. So the frequency of the throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. Big message about balance for those of you who were drawn to card number 3. First of all, you're getting a congratulations from your angels and spirit guides, for it's as if you've kind of like gone out on a limb and shared something about your, like within your heart space, that was difficult for you through your throat chakra. So you are getting confirmation for that. Also, what I'm getting from that is that that was just the beginning. So it's sort of like you have broken the dam of communication that is going to assist you in manifesting what you truly want. So first thing to do is to write down, so make real and materialize what it is that you truly want in whatever situation is foremost in your life and your mind right now, and communicate that with, well, yourself and your spirit guides, first of all, through journaling it or writing it down. But those who you sincerely believe can help you get to this situation, it's time to be brave and communicate with them. And if that means asking for help, or whether that means just kind of letting people know, hey, I'm trying to manifest this. So if you hear of anybody who, you know, is working on this or whatever, send them my way. So just allowing your heart's desire to come up through the throat chakra and basically out into the universe, so that your manifestations can begin to materialize. And I really hope that they do. I think they will. You deserve it. So I hope that that was helpful for you guys. Video number 3 of the Tarot Oracle, Intro to Tarot Oracle deck series, flying cards and shuffling. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned some new methods, and I hope you have the most beautiful Tarot Tuesday and a wonderful week going forward. I am Kimber Heels. If you haven't already, please do follow me on YouTube. We have much more content over there. Thank you. Love you.